my God. This is so incredible. You're gonna make me cry, honestly, guys. No, but I have to say just before we get into it that this is the final show of my very first comedy tour. And because of an incredible, wonderful, kind, giving people like you, also delusional people that my mom probably paid to be here, it's been a sold-out tour, my very first sold-out tour ever, in anything ever. No, but really, I look at these crowds, especially in Munich yesterday and today, and I just cannot believe how many beautiful people are at these shows, and some Germans also. I'm kidding. That's a joke. You know, the Germans are a very beautiful people, yeah. Of course they are. It's from all that Sport. Come on. The Germans love their Sport, you know. And you know what? It's paying off, okay? Have you ever seen a German person's shirt lift up when they reach for something on the top shelf? They're doing just fine, okay? They're doing just all right. Sometimes, though, it's a bit too much for me. It's a bit relax, okay? We get it. Have a candy bar once in a while, okay? But they're just off doing a backflip off of a mountain somewhere. They don't even hear you. I can't even do a hula hoop. All right, surprise, you know? The only hoops I have ever jumped through are the insane ones that I had to in order to be here in Germany, actually. Those first few years were just stuffed with appointments and paperwork and dialects, just like German pornography. Just, ugh. I don't know who knows this, but the first few years, actually back in the day, the reason that I even came to Germany was because originally I had followed a German woman. Yeah, who drugged and kidnapped me. No, but I'm so glad that I didn't come here alone for any other reason, like work or something. Because if I would have had to have gone through that entire process all by my little old lonesome, I wouldn't be on this stage today, I can tell you that. I wouldn't have made it out of the airport, man. I was such a doughy-eyed American dum-dum. I mean, I still am. But you should have seen me back then because Jesus Christ. Those first few months were a nightmare. A nightmare. Waking up at 5 a.m. with bloodshot eyes like someone just pulled the fucking fire alarm because it's time to go stand in line at the immigration office, which is right over fucking there. By the way, serendipity there a little bit. You go inside and you just take a numbered ticket off the wall like you're waiting to get a pound of salami from the deli. And then you just wait there and you stand there for hours sometimes, hoping that you get the chance to speak briefly with the most intimidating woman in a beige pantsuit that you have ever met in your entire life. I know my audience. I know there's a lot of people in this room who have gone through a similar situation like that before, either in this city or in a different city, and I feel you. There is nothing more intimidating than one of those desk clerks at the Burger Bureau, as delicious as it sounds. Don't let the name fool you. Fool me once. No, but for real, every single one of those interactions is based purely on whether they're having a good day or not. You know, you're scanning them up and down like a detective trying to get intel. Did they have a Butterbrezen today? Was there enough salt? Was there too much butter? Did someone stand in the bike lane on their way to work? Check their fingers for bell-ringing residue. Meanwhile, I am standing there just sweating so much. So much. The pressure is too high, man. The pressure is way too high in those situations. It's like a police interrogation. And I should know, because I was arrested as a teenager. Yeah, for multiple homicides. I'm kidding. Germans, I'm kidding. I know I'm from the States. But I don't have a gun on stage or something. Don't be ridiculous. The guns are at the merch table over there, all right? No, but I was arrested. And there was a little window of time after it happened where I thought I was kind of cool. I thought maybe I'm a little badass, you know? Except I wasn't. I was very, very uncool and very fat, honestly. And you're about to find out just how fat I really was, because only a very, very, very uncool, very fat person would get busted for what I got caught doing. I was arrested for the most Jordan Prince thing imaginable. Stealing junk food from a freshly stocked Frito-Lay delivery truck. Okay? We didn't even steal the money. You know how fat of a kid you have to be to break into a stacked truck full with cash and coin, only to take the chips and the cookies? Guys, you aren't getting it. We took $1,000 worth, okay? If we would have had any intuition or any self-control whatsoever, we could have taken those stolen snacks and sold them back to the kids at school for double market value, okay? What were those middle schoolers gonna do? The math? This was Mississippi. No one's doing the math. They're doing meth. There was one guy like, no, dude. Like, yeah. No, but for real, like, we could have owned that town. We could have. If only we could have stopped dipping into our own supply. Okay, the high was simply too good. You know that scene in like every big gangster movie like Scarface, where at some point the hotshot mobster lights up a cigar with $100 bill? I'll never forget opening my friend's bedroom door where we stashed our loot and seeing him bathing on his bed in a pile of Lay's potato chips as they rained down upon him like he was the wolf of fucking Wall Street. And my fat ass was standing in the door just not capable of understanding why. You're just wasting them? You're not gonna eat them? Why? He was just looking around like, I don't know. You know, that's my big mobster moment, you know? But the way that we got caught was also so absolutely batshit crazy. It wasn't what you'd expect. It wasn't like the detective followed a trail of cookie crumbs from the truck to my front door or something, you know? It wasn't the typical route. Although, there is one aspect of the way that we got caught that is very typical of the United States. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this weird rumor that Americans like guns. I know, it's crazy. No, it's really wild. No, but the States, they love guns. You don't see a lot of guns in Germany. I mean, they're here, but it's a pretty huge difference. Like, you don't see Germans cosplaying as John Wick just to go to their mailbox and back, all right? Germans don't stack up on revolvers. How else would they have two hands for their hiking sticks, okay? Logic, all right? Think about it. They don't need that. No, but like, simply put, the way that we got caught was a couple of kids got hold of a pistol, and one night, they shot out some windows in a school building. Now, thank God no one was injured, but because they filmed it and bragged about it the following days at school, which all good and smart criminals should do. The local police caught wind of what was going on and picked up these boys for a little chit-chat downtown. And because the idiot who pulled the trigger was a blabbermouth, he roped in all of his friends and confessed to all of his wrongdoings the entire summer long. One of his many crimes being robbing the Frito-Lay delivery truck. You see, he had found it so easy to do that he later convinced our friend group to do it too. One thing led to another, and pretty soon, the sheriff of Alcorn County, Mississippi was knocking on my door. Thankfully, we didn't have to serve any hard time or anything. We had to pay some fines. We had to, do our community service. I was forever known in my hometown as the Fredo Bandido. But it could be worse. But that's crazy, right? Like, all of that went into motion because a kid got his hands on a gun way too easily. Like, that never would have happened if I'd been born here as a little German boy. Kids here don't give two shits about snacks the way that we did. But then again, kids here aren't even allowed to have sugar until they're what, sir? 17, 18? Beer is the priority here, okay? That's the natural process. It's like mother's milk, Apfelsaftschorle, beer. Like, beer, right there, as soon as you can, okay? That's the focus. Kids here aren't fat enough or bored enough to have cared about snacks the way that we did. And there sure as hell aren't any guns just lying around. You know why that is? Germans don't need guns. They have guilt. I love that reaction every single time. Because you can only die once from a gun, guys. Guilt, however, can kill you over and over again for the rest of your days. It's just how they're raised here. Have you ever looked at their children's books, for Christ's sake? Has anyone ever had the displeasure of reading the Struwwelpeter? Raise your hand if you've ever read the Struwwelpeter before. God help us all. For those who've never been cursed by this awful book, I'm telling you, dude. The Struwwelpeter is a children's story from 1845 by a guy named Heinrich Hoffmann, that sick fuck. It's basically a collection of 10 short stories that rhyme, and they're primarily about children. It is, simply put, a pain worse than death to read. And for those parents in the room who continue to read that book to their children today, the police are waiting for you in the lobby, because it ends with us, okay? It ends with us tonight. It has to stop at some point. No, but for those who don't know how crazy this is, let's take a little look at the story of the innocent thumb-sucking child, shall we? Oh, I can feel the tension shifting in this room right now. You see, there was once a boy, a little boy, who sucked his thumb as children do. One fateful day, his mother approaches him and says, "Conrad, dear, I must go now and leave you here. But mind now, Conrad, what I say. Don't suck your thumb while I'm away. For the great tall tailor always comes to little boys who suck their thumbs. And ere they dream what he's about, he takes his great sharp scissors out and slices their thumbs clean off. And then, you know, they never grow again." And then it fucking happens. A stranger breaks into a child's home and slices his thumbs off with scissors. I have so many questions. Does he keep the thumbs? If so, what does he do with them? Okay? Also, I'm just thinking, this kid now has 2 major appendages sliced off. There's no way he's getting that tricky packaging off of a Band-Aid with all that blood spewing everywhere. It's way before you could call 911 or 112. So does the kid just fucking die? And if you're wondering all the same things that I'm wondering, imagine now that you're 6 years old, your mama closes the book and goes, "Good night now. Sleep well, don't have any nightmares, yeah." You know what we had as kids in America growing up? Fucking not that, man, okay? And if there was a freaky little story that found its way into our bookshelves, it was usually a German story from those demented Grimm brothers. Hansel and Gretel? What if we told a story about a little brother and a sister who are lost in the woods, who are then kidnapped by a cannibal witch? Yeah. What about Little Red Riding Hood? What if we told the story about a little girl who is manipulated by a talking wolf, who not only eats her grandmother, but tries to eat her too? Was there nobody in any of these old publishing meetings to toss up a hand and go, "Hate to bother. Have to ask. What's the lesson we're trying to teach these children here?" Oh, I am so glad that you have asked this, because you know it's like a metaphor. Because if you leave your house, you will die. A horrible, painful deaths. It's like all of these children's stories were written by Werner Herzog or something. You know, Little Red Riding Hood was bringing her Oma a treat. You should never do this. The Oma did not deserve treats. No one should be happy. And there's so many stories like this. There are countless stories like that. I feel so bad for German kids, dude. I feel so bad for German kids. But I feel kind of most bad for little Southern Bavarian kids. Like, I can only, most of my comedy and the videos and stuff, it's mostly through the lens of like my observations here in Bavaria, Southern Bavaria. So I don't know how it is in the rest of Germany, all the time or anything, but a lot of parents in Southern Bavaria have found a way to make Christmas time what is normally the most wonderful time of the year for children into something that's pretty scary, quite frankly. Like, Christmas time for me as a kid was hanging out with my brother and my friends from school, staying up past midnight, playing video games, watching comedy classics on repeat like Home Alone, Kevin allein zu Hause. It was amazing. It was so much fun. Little Southern Bavarian kids got a bad deal. They have real, horrifying monsters invited into their homes just to show them how easily their happiness can be ripped away from them if they do not behave. These monsters are commonly known as Krampus. Sorry if I've triggered any of the Southern Bavarians in the room here. I have to ask, have any non-Germans in the room ever experienced a really traditional Krampus experience in like a Bavarian small town? I see a couple of tortured, beaten, bloody hands here, yeah. The rest of you lucky bastards. I had a Krampus experience that I won't soon forget. Or I should say Klausen, because that's what they're called in this particular small town where I was tortured. You know how I had moved here for this girl? Did she tell me that her family was affiliated with a cult? Nope. Was I forewarned that blackout drunk 19-year-old boys with father issues would be let loose in the streets with sticks and whips, donning dead goat heads for masks? Could have let me know that one before I flew over. Starts off simple enough, you know? The family and the family friends meet together in this one house in the center of this village, right? And there's Wurst und Käse and Glühwein and beer. Oh, it's very nice, yeah. Very German. At some point after dark, the townsfolk line the streets of this village the same way that you would when you're about to watch a parade come through, except it's monsters. Imagine a fucking 213 centimeter tall fella, you know, with this like goat-headed Yeti person build, and they have these bull horns protruding out of their skulls, and they are hammered. The Klausen run in this enormous horde through the center of the town, but you hear them long before you see them because they have these huge fucking steel cowbells banging around on their belt. It is mortifying, okay? I still get PTSD when I hear someone ring a bell at a hotel reception. They run through the town, and now the event has officially begun. And if you are in the streets, you are prey. So the logic is, oh, well, if we stay inside, we'll be safe, right? This is where Southern Bavarians like to turn it up a notch. You see, a lot of parents in that area like to use these horrifying monsters as a means of teaching their little children life lessons. Oh, you stole €5 from Oma's purse? Then I guess I will let 7 fully grown men into the house who appear to you as God's rejected creations. Give zero indication that they are not real, and allow them to terrorize you. Yeah. Why? Because Clara, stealing is wrong. We've talked about this. Do. Nine. I mean, Jesus Christ, is there no other punishment between doing nothing at all and scarring them for life? We're inside the house, right? We're drinking Glühwein. We're listening to the screams of people all around the house while we collectively pretend that this is normal. Until for some ungodly reason, when the Klausen come knocking on the door of this house, they were led inside. So, I'm terrified, right? New country, rural village, confusing dialect, real monsters let inside the only space that I thought was safe. They come in screaming and gnarling and grunting. One of them even has a real severed chicken's leg in his hand, blood and feathers and all. He shoves it into my friend Sarah's wine glass, pushes it into her face, and with an aggressive voice says, "Drink it." Now, Sarah's American. And she has much bigger balls than I do. So she pushed it back into the monster's face and said, "You drink it." And then he did. Jesus Christ, dude. Things calm down for a little while. The guys take off their helmets. They're drinking beer. They're eating food. You can see the actual young men's faces. In my mind, the danger is over. Until About 30 minutes later, they decide it's time to get back to it. Those kids aren't going to torture themselves, right? Once those helmets click back on, they transform back into these cryptid serial killers, grunting and screaming, seemingly growing in size as they do. And this time, they are taking prisoners. They rip me out of my chair by my shirt collar, dragging me across the floor with my feet kicking helplessly behind me. I reach my hand out to the table, hoping that someone might be able to help me. And all I hear is my friend Sarah's voice as she waves her tiny little hand and goes, "Bye, Jordan." They toss me out on the front lawn, force me onto my knees. One of the bullhorns from one of my captor's masks scrapes my forehead, so there's blood dripping down the side of my face into my ripped shirt. They stand around me with whips and sticks and chains, and they're breathing steam, and they say, "Sing!" And the only thing that I could think of to sing in that moment, amongst all that pressure, under all that stress, was "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time." Oh, baby. Thank God that in that moment a few teenagers ran by and they taunted the Klausen, so they chased after them, and I took my opportunity to drag my feet back into this house, looking like I had just gotten into a fist fight with an alligator, you know. Everybody inside treated my absence like I had just stepped outside for a quick phone call. They didn't even look up from their plates, man. I drank myself into such a numbing oblivion that night that at some point I was slurring out a kind of mountain dialect with some Danny DeVito-looking motherfucker. It's like the Purge. It's like the Purge and the Village together in one weird, twisted, sick tradition that is just so German. But they love it, man. They love it. Those townsfolk, they love it. They love their tradition. They love their Klausen. They love their mountains. They love their guilt. And strangely enough, they love and have a lot of pride in their clear and crystal clean, clear rivers and lakes. I think there's a connection. I think those things are intertwined. I think they need something pure to balance out all of the insanity. You see, because there's this unspoken rule amongst the natives here in Germany. No experience can be so bad that it cannot be washed off by diving into an icy lake in December. That's why they do it. Now I understand. You see, Germans love bodies of water. And they love their bodies in water more than any other people or species ever. Lakes, oceans, ponds, puddles, pools, rivers, and creeks galore. You'll probably find a naked German in one of them. It sounds ridiculous, but you know, until I was in like my mid-20s, I didn't even realize that most lakes are swimmable. We just didn't really do that in my family, you know? I had friends from school that would go to the beach during the summer break. I have a cousin who gets drunk at the river every weekend, okay? But it wasn't until I moved here, especially to Bavaria, and began to monitor and observe the German behaviors here and their obsessions with the rivers and the lakes that I began to finally understand what Germans truly are. Bear with me. Germans are fish that simply evolved too far. Hear me out. Fish have rules. Fish have routines. Fish are efficient. Thank you so much. This is my last joke of the evening. No. No, that's my favorite joke of the whole show. They're efficient. Fish do not say hello. Have you ever heard a fish say hello? Fish stare at you. Now we're back on track. Hey, they're always drinking. And they are constantly making Sport. I know I'm right. Since we're on the topic of water here, just for a second, let me say, the subject, generally, of water is actually the reason that I'm even standing on this stage today. And I'm going to explain that in a minute, but just in honor of water, I have set aside a ridiculous amount of jokes on the topic. And a lot of you are going to love that, and some will not. But I promise you, at the end, you'll all have to pee. I guarantee that. But let me explain just for a second how I mean that water's the reason that I'm here. So a few years ago, I was visiting my family back in Tennessee, where they lived at the time. I'd been in Germany for a few years at this point. And one day on this trip, I found myself in this fully stocked beverage aisle in a small town Walmart. And suddenly, a voice crept into my head. A voice that I'd never heard before. A very, very German voice. Who said things like, what's with all of this plastic waste? Where are the large glass bottles of Eidelholzener? Huh? Or the Gerolsteine? And what about the Pfand? Hä? Kein Pfand. And who is drinking LaCroix? If they want a Schorle, they should get their own Sprudelwasser and mix it themselves. This is not natural. And because that little voice sounded funny to me, I made a short little video and I posted it. I did not plan for that to be my career now at all. Can you imagine pitching something like that to your parents or your high school guidance counselor? So, Mr. Prince, what kind of career path do you imagine for yourself when you get older? I think I'm just gonna make fun of entire country, dude. For money. Yeah, dude. We have a lot of work to do. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm from the South. We did not have guidance counselors. We just had that guy at the gas station that your parents would point out when you got busted doing something wrong. You know, some poor bastard with no teeth begging for cigarettes by the outdoor bathroom. Your parents roll up in the car just like, young man, you keep this up, you're gonna end up like Ed over there. It's a small town, so we know his name. No, but I couldn't believe that got the traction it did, and it's just amazing that, people enjoyed it, and that's how I got to this moment. But with all of that cheesy shit out of the way, now you know how I got here. Now I have to talk a little bit about German tap water. I love that every time I've set this up, there's always a mixed reaction. There's always someone who's like, fucking give it hell, bro. Someone who's like, I hope he's very nice to the German water. No, I love German tap water. You're gonna understand why in a second. The first time I ever had a sip of German tap water from my sink here in Munich, baptize me in this brother's amen. Amen. Yeah. I just got over a cold, so that bit is a bit of a gamble. I loved it. You don't understand, I had just come from New Orleans where we had regular water boil advisory warnings. telling us that the Leitungswasser had been tested positive for brain-eating amoebas. And that not only should we be boiling it before drinking it, but before bathing. That was the norm. And I can't stand here today and say it's much better. Okay? It's the first sip of German water. Something changed in me. I felt enlightened. Like, did you know that pee doesn't have to be brown? Newsflash! Did you know that tap water doesn't either? That first crispy mountain spring elixir, I snapped. I was like, I will no longer be accepting the sludge from back home anymore. And don't even get me started on when I go down to the south, towards the Alps. Damn! It's like you're drinking this fucking crystallized ancient purity spring that comes down like God's own personal nectar right into your fucking personal sink. I feel like if there's no other reason to convince someone to move to Germany, you gotta put tap water on the list somewhere. Am I crazy? Like, yeah, of course there's a better health insurance system. Of course there's great education. And yes, of course, you will be bombarded with, wrinkly, uncircumcised penises at every sauna that you go to. But despite that, regardless of that, despite whatever reason you might move to Germany for, I feel like a lot of people, maybe subconsciously, stay for the water. But God forbid you send a European to the States for a little trip just to see the Instagram stories of people literally gagging on the free water that restaurants serve them when they sit down. Get a grip, Gisela. Yes, it's disgusting, but it's free. That's something I miss so much about living in the States, if we're being honest. That free water that's just plopped down on your table. Whenever you sit down at a restaurant or a cafe, no questions fucking asked. In Germany, you have to order the water, and you have to pay for the water, unless you have the balls to ask for Leitungswasser. And let me just ask, guys, what's better? A free glass of country sludge from your local American Applebee's? Or crispy mountain spring water served with an unwavering side of German disdain? Actually, can I just get a glass of Leitungswasser? Leitungswasser? Echt, rolls eyes in German. Ich bringe Ihnen gern ein Glas Tafelwasser für 2,50 €. Oh, great! Okay. All right, I get it. You're gonna make me beg, Hans? Are you gonna make me beg? I would rather die. Right here in this Munich dive bar that's blasting indie rock that was popular 11 years ago, pal. I want to fade into ash right next to your tip jar, because I got a tip for you, buddy. We should make a complimentary glass of water the norm whenever you sit down at any place of business. Full stop. Just makes sense. If I'm trying to impress somebody and your restaurant has a fancy bottle of expensive water, I'll order it when I'm good and ready to order it. Okay, but no one, from the poorest beggar to the shittiest Swiss banker boy, would have a problem with a complimentary glass of water upon being seated. And there is a special place in heaven for me because I know I'm right. And the fact that we don't do this will forever confuse me. And you know what else confuses me? German water labels, okay? Medium water. Medium water. The fuck is that? It's the same size as all the rest of them. By the way, I'm kidding. I know what medium water is, okay? Medium water is like you ordered a sparkling water and then forgot about it in the floorboard of your car for a few days. only to find it a few days later when you were cleaning out the trash. You open it up to not only get a very disappointing sound, but a very disappointing taste. It sucks, okay? It's the worst. But if we're really talking about sparkling water here, like the way that Germans and Americans view sparkling water could not be more different, especially where I'm from. Like if someone in the South hears the words sparkling water, oh, they think it's fucking fancy, man. Like, where I'm from, like, you cannot order a bottle of sparkling water without getting some looks. You know, you sit down in a diner somewhere like, actually, do you have Perrier? Oh, look who won the lottery. Oh, come on, kids, come gather around over here. This fella thinks he's better than all the rest of us. Oh, make way for Mr. Moneybags, you know? It's ridiculous. I mean, of course, in their defense, a lot of places in the States serve a bottle of sparkling water for more than the cost of a glass of Coca-Cola. It's crazyville. So I kind of see where they're coming from. But with Germans, look, your tap water here, it's so clean and the taste is so good. Where along the line did you get tricked into believing that you prefer sparkling? Although it wouldn't be the first time Germans were convinced something terrible was the right choice. You know I had to do one, and hey, I did it so tastefully. No, but Germans have really strict standards. They do. Look, that's just truth. Germans have very strict standards, okay? And yes, sometimes that can be something that's very lame. Like when you see a cyclist holding up traffic in the most obnoxious spandex suit you've ever seen in your life on a bike that costs more than a car. But do you think it's easy to be that lame? Fuck no! It takes practice. It takes strict standards, okay? I'm just glad that those strict standards apply to things that are good, too. Like the general infrastructure. Like public transportation. And like that goddamn water. Now, canned water. That's right, we're still on the water slide, baby. Keep those trunks on. Canned water has become an enormous industry, especially in the States. Like, do you guys know Liquid Death? One up front. It's a huge company in the States. It's crazy. It's like $1 billion company now. It's a company that sells water in cans. Sounds simple enough. But their marketing is so undeniably American. They say things like murdering thirst, annihilating parchness, fucking slaughtering gulps, you know? They sell water! Can you imagine if a German brand tried to do something like that? If a German company tried to go all Rambo on their marketing, they would shut that shit down so fast. The moment that a German company's slogan is in all capital letters, there's an investigation, okay? Hey, Durstmaschine, wir hacken deinen Durst zu Kleinholz. Like, whoa, calm down, man. Hey, I need to see some identification, okay? Is this your water, sir? Yeah, I need some backup here. There's a German waving his arms a bit too much and screaming. He's freaking out the locals. Yeah, it's making them uncomfortable, yeah. Can you imagine seeing an ad in Germany that crazy, followed immediately by German news, which is such a drag? You know, an ad like that with explosions. Suddenly it's 20 Uhr, and it's like, ding! Welcome to the German news. Today there was an accident near Frankfurt on the Autobahn. It's such a snooze fest, man. I feel like German news is just punishing people for being remotely interested in what's going on. Where is that American pizzazz, baby? It's so different in the States. American news is wild, okay? pure entertainment. No facts. No facts. They come out of that bitch fucking music blasting. Bum, 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 bum. That's right, aliens have landed on the White House lawn, and they are fully armed. And there's banners of information going across the screen. They're putting up tweets from some stranger in Idaho. It is a madhouse. I am so grateful for German news. Honestly. I'm happy that they're not incentivized to earn profit and that they're actually trustworthy. But for the love of God, can we please slap up a split screen up there so I can remotely pay attention to what's going on? If anybody here works for German news, dude, I got a tip for you. Put up a kung fu movie so I can see Jackie Chan whip around that ladder on mute, and I swear to God, your ratings will go through the fucking roof. Okay? Now, speaking of movies, I have a little game I'd like to play, but first I would just like to say this commences the water segment. Thank you so much. And I hope you had some fun. I have a little game I'd like to play, just to mix things up a little bit. So for those who don't know, when a movie made outside of Germany comes to Germany for streaming or for cinema, very often the title of this movie is replaced with a strange German expression. That one usually has nothing to do with the original title of that movie, and two, nothing to do with the plot of that movie. So we're gonna play a game called Guess That Movie, where I read the new and fun title of this German version of the movie. First in German, trying my best, and then in the English translation of that title. These are all pretty famous movies. I haven't had a show where a lot of people didn't know at least most of these, so let's give it a shot here. Number one. Ich glaub, mich knutscht ein Elch. I think an elk is smooching me. Yeah, that checks out. Did anybody think the 1980s military Bill Murray comedy Stripes? Guys, it was right there in front of you. There's not even an elk in the movie, okay? Think a little bit, okay? Thought you guys were all engineers. Number two. Zwei glorreiche Halunken. Two, before the Germans scream it out. Two glorious scoundrels. Anybody got it? Huh? No, but that's a very great and understandably human guess. It's not Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Two glorious scoundrels is obviously the good, the bad, and the ugly. Obviously. Thought I had a smart crowd here tonight. That's ridiculous. Number three. And this, honestly, Germans who named this movie, shame on you. Zwei abgewichste Profis. Two wanked professionals. That is actually the title. Vixen, Germans, guys, grow up. That's not porn. Anybody? I love that nobody knows it, because it's insane. This is the Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg police comedy Hot Fuzz. Yeah, it was right under your nose, guys. The next one's probably my favorite of all time, I have to say. But I have never had a show where a lot of women didn't know this right off the bat. So maybe it's more popular than I think, title-wise. The German title is Schokolade zum Frühstück. Chocolate for breakfast. Yeah. This has been about the average response. Bridget Jones' Diary. You know, because Hugh Grant passed by a shop that sold a candy bar, and then kept walking, and so they made the whole title about that. And last but not least, Die schrillen Vier auf Achse, the shrill four on the move. Okay, I'm kind of glad no one got that, because last night someone got it and I was like, fuck! This is National Lampoon's Vacation. And let's just think about that for a second. That movie is basically called Vacation. Could they not have called it Urlaub? Would that have been too easy? It makes me think that there's so many, especially, I don't know, maybe Bavarians, maybe Germans generally, that are just not watching enough movies. I feel like also particularly Bavarians, they're just not like, I don't feel that they are prone to just lounging around on sofas all day. There's a reason why they are fit people, okay? You don't get that by just doing what I do all day, okay? No, but what's interesting too about that is on my last shows, I had a different topic, and I noticed it's a little bit difficult. Maybe Bavarians are a little insecure or unsure if they're okay with themselves laughing at self-deprecating jokes about weight or obesity. That's true. I found that very interesting. And I thought later, you know, you probably wouldn't see like a standard fit Bavarian person watching one of those like landmark American reality TV shows like My 600-Pound Life or 1,000-Pound Sisters. These are real shows, by the way. And talk about a show to binge, huh? You toss on My 600-Pound Life, you realize pretty quick that you just can't get enough. Need a little more. Can't put it down. Those jokes are from me. No, but I feel like, especially a lot of Bavarians I've met here, they won't even watch TV unless they feel that they've earned it properly by probably like cross-country skiing the entire border of Austria or something. And even then, when they feel that they have, by some miracle, earned it, they still watch TV at night with the windows closed so no one sees. And then they just watch something wild like Tagesschau. Or some documentary about rocks on Arte. And if they're feeling crazy, they might watch a Tatort. Whoa. You know, unless there's like a ski tournament or like a football game on, in which case all rules are temporarily withheld. Americans will watch a show about obese people, but feel superior to the obese people because now they take Ozempic. Like, for those who might not, listen to the ahs. For those who might not know what Ozempic is, it's a medication that was originally intended for diabetic patients, but which it's been recently adopted and popularized by non-diabetic Americans to artificially curb their hunger so that they lose weight. I know so many people back home who still don't eat cleaner, they still don't exercise, but they take Ozempic to lose weight. I know. It's crazy. But Americans have long been crazy about their medications, dude. They really are. I see it more and more the longer I live here. Like a German person will tell you that a long hike, fresh air, and a shawl around the neck is a cure-all for everything. From a common cold to having every bone in your body shattered in a freak accident. Make sure that you are making regular Stoßlüften, yeah, because then the bones will heal together. Americans, on the other hand, especially where I'm from, if you even hint that you're kind of not feeling so good, they'll fucking beep, 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 like dump truck pills onto you. It's wild. Like my mom, take my mom for example. She's a little bit of a hypochondriac. She has a pharmacy in her cabinets. She always has. And whenever I even hinted at a symptom, she had a pill for it. Oh, I think I have a little bit of a headache. Here, take one of these. Oh man, I am full. Here, take one of these guys right here. Man, I'm so bored. You want to try one? Like, Americans are too chill. They are too chill about everything. Germans, no chill. Like the average day in my parents' house looks like this. Dark rooms, cozy seats, TV on. Germans, on the other hand, there's no TV. What TV? You didn't see a TV. They're outside gardening, you lazy bitch. They're having a refreshing Rhabarberschorle by the time you even wake up. Breakfast? That was an oat milk muesli they made 2 hours ago, okay? And by the time you're even brushing your teeth, they're on an hours-long hike curing their gout with the healing powers of fresh air, okay? Boots? Check. Pants that zip off into cargo shorts? Double check. Plaid shirt with a reflective backpack full of prepackaged sausages and a room temperature Weizen? Triple check. Okay? Oh, are you tired? Do you want to take a nap? Go fuck yourself. It's time for the sauna, baby. Tits and dongs, ladies and gentlemen. Tits and dongs. That's the norm around these parts. It's the Americans who do things the Germans could never conceive of. Like the difference between the average Bavarian getting a dog versus someone like my mom. Like the average Bavarian only gets a dog so that they have even more reasons to be outside several times a day on the jogging trails and the hiking paths so they can make that fucking spot, man. My mom puts on children's cartoons for her dog when she leaves the house so it doesn't get lonely. She puts a drop of fabric softener in the bathwater so it comes out extra soft and fluffy. And that's just my mom. Sometimes Americans do things that shock the entire world. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is my last story of the night. Now, this story takes place on German soil. Perhaps the most German soil of all, Oktoberfest. Where an American truly did the unthinkable. A few years ago, I was asked by a company if I would be able to host 3 American business people at the Oktoberfest for one evening. I was informed that we could order whatever we wanted. Everything would be paid for by the company that hired me. And hey, Wiesen's expensive. All I have to do is hang out with 3 Americans at one of the most fun places in Germany, and it would all be for free? Yeah. I'm in. I go home and I put on my finest lederhosen. I go and I tell the group where to meet up, and when we finally find each other, I'm introduced to the 2 owners of the American business. It's a couple, a lovely couple in their mid-60s named Tom and Angie. With them is their assistant, a woman in her 40s named Samantha. And at first, everything is running super smooth. I'm pulling out all the stops, man. I'm trying to blow their mind with things they've never seen before. Oh, Botsta, pretzels bigger than your head, whatever a knuddle is. We get a whole plate of them. And of course, we have to get what everyone goes to Oktoberfest for, that crispy, oh so precious, overpriced beer. Now, I'm not hosting a fraternity. There's no intention to get hammered. But I noticed pretty early on that Samantha has finished her mass in record time. But I'm on the clock. So what do? I order the lady another one, of course. This was a mistake. She knocks out another half mass pretty quickly before asking where the bathroom is. Now, this is where things get interesting. I point out one of those white-walled, pay a lady with a coin bathroom setups they have at the Oktoberfest, and she leaves the table. Now, she first tries to go around this table of pretty big guys, but she can't fit, right? So she decides to step up onto a beer bench, a beer bunk. And she starts to tightrope it like those hippies at the riverside. And she eats shit. She face plants onto the pavement, shattering her glasses and her face. I know, just wait. Apparently everybody saw it. I run over, the security guard runs over, the toilet lady runs over. It is a scene. I roll her over like she's just been shot. And I see that the shards of glass have cut her eye socket. So she's Wait. You're so empathetic, it's very sweet. She's bleeding down her side of her face, right? And she has no idea what happened. Security guard runs over and says, "You have to get her to the emergency tents now." So me and her 65-year-old bosses peel her off of the road and get her over to the emergency tent. When we get there, the officials take her in and they say, "She has to come in alone." And so we say, "Okay, yeah, sure." So she goes in. And then, there it is, right? There's me, the host of these two American business people, a little bit in shock from all the drama that just took place, but taking our breath, thanking each other for a lovely evening. Things are coming to an end. I'm thinking, oh, should I tell them to go this way for the train? Oh, maybe there's taxis over here. I don't know. We're sharing glances at the exit. Things are winding down. And this is when Samantha approaches. She comes out wearing an eye patch like a drugstore pirate, blood splotches and all. We check on her. We ask her how she is, if she's okay. She seems fine. We start doing our handshakes. We take our deep sighs and our head nods. And just as I'm about to point them in the direction they should go to get back to their hotel, this is when Samantha pipes up. She says, wait a second. There's one more thing I have to do. Now, I look at her boss's faces and realize pretty quickly that they have no idea what she is about to ask me. And neither do I. But I'm the host, right? I'm still on the clock. So I say, yeah, of course. Did you want to get one of those large, like, Oktoberfest cookie hearts? Or maybe one of those taxidermied, like, turkey hats that clap on your head, you know, like that? This is when Samantha decides to go from that drunk lady that smashed her face at Oktoberfest to the craziest person who has ever lived. She says, there's one more thing I have to do. She reaches into her purse and she starts to reveal what looks to be a large glass jar. And in that moment, she says, I promised my husband, God rest his soul, that I would spread his ashes at Oktoberfest. She pulls out a double XL dill pickle jar full of human remains. And it is astoundingly clear that the bosses had no idea that she brought that on this business trip. You know, which means that she must have, like, snuck it through TSA and snuck it into the hotels and snuck it into the taxi rides, all the while thinking, this is gonna be so lovely for me as well as everyone involved. And the fact that it's in a fucking dill pickle jar just says so much about this woman to me. Like, human remains normally come in a sealed plastic bag, which are then placed in some kind of ceramic urn. Did she take out the bag and cut it open with scissors and then pour the man she once loved into a hopefully cleaned and dried pickle jar? How long was this plan in motion? Did she just go to buy double XL pickles at Walmart one day and go, Carl is gonna love this? Obviously, our jaws are on the floor. But I'm still on the clock. So I say, oh. Should we find a spot? And now we're marching through Oktoberfest. And they're following me because now I'm hosting an evening I wish I had never signed up for. We come to a slightly quieter part of the festival behind one of the main tents, and I see a slightly grassy area beyond the fencing. And I say, maybe here? And she says, no, I want this spot under the street lamp for the pictures. The spot she requested was in the middle of just fucking pavement. Rain, piss, cigarette, beer-splattered pavement. A few feet away, there is a man on all fours vomiting his soul to the devil. I'm pretty sure there was a couple right back here banging in the bushes because I saw ass cheeks flopping in and out of view. Carl is going to haunt this woman for what she did. She hands me her phone because I have the luxury of taking the photos. And the rest happens in slow motion in my memory. She unscrews the tin lid from this glass jar, spreads her arms out wide, and says, "Are you ready?" Lady, I have never been less ready for anything in my entire life. I am rapid snapping photos as fast as I possibly can on this phone as she takes that jar and she begins to whip it all around her head, psychotically laugh crying at full volume. Carl! Ashes are going everywhere, into the rain puddles, into the vomit, into a couple of open beers from some nearby Australian guys. It is an image that has burned itself into my brain. They will question it long after I am dead. I will never forget that image and that sound. After the dust settles, she puts everything away, takes a deep breath, and she smiles. And then the three of them leave. And as far as I know, after the three of them took what I can only imagine to be as the world's most uncomfortable trip back to the United States. She was later let go from the company, but I don't really know why. She seems pretty dedicated to me. But every Oktoberfest since then, every year, whenever I see one of those blackout drunk Bavarian guys with the lederhosen around their ankles just peeing in circles on the pavement, I always think, maybe, just maybe, he hit a little piece of Carl. Thank you so much, Munich. I cannot tell you how much this means to me. I am so grateful for each and every one of you. I hope you had fun. I hope you had some laughs. This was the final show of the tour, my first tour ever. I'm gonna cry. I'm so grateful to all of you. And I really hope you had fun. I know it's a Monday night. You guys packed out the place. And we're all standing, which also sucks, I know. Little future information here. Next year's tour, we are already set up. It's all seated theaters, okay? More dates, all seated, more cities. You guys, you made this happen, and I would not be on this stage without every single one of you, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm gonna take about 3 or 4 minutes, cool down. I'm gonna be right here by this merch table to take photos or chit chat or just shake your hand, just to say hi. If you have to go, it's a Monday night, I totally understand. If you wanna say hi, I'll be here in a few minutes, but I just wanted to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for making this possible for me. Thank you.
Who got your back? Niggas wanna flex, who got the gap? It ain't hard to tell, I'm the East Coast overdoser. Nigga, you're scared, you're supposed to. Nigga, I toast you. Put fear in your heart. Fuck up the party before it even starts. Is he drunk off a Henny and stuff? Or some brand Nubian shit beating down party?